We've got the Arizona Cardinals up next for a mock draft, and we got to look at this roster where quarterback is definitely going to be something they have to address. Now, is it a first round sort of thing in this draft class? No. But day two, round three, depending on if that's a Ty Simpson, a Garrett Nussmeier, Drew Aller, Carson Beck, those guys definitely would make a lot of sense for them to be able to draft and add some competition here with Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew, while at the same time also maybe positioning themselves for the 2027 draft if things don't work out there. Running back, they're good to go here. You got a three-headed monster with Benson, Algier, and Connor. It's a great room. It's ABC. That's what we're calling this. The ABC AJ Foyt machine or something like that, right? And add in the K, the BAM up in there. BAM! And then we got wide receiver Marvin Marvelous Harrison Jr. And you got Michael Wilson, who's also unbelievable. I think he's really underrated. You got Kendrick Bourne, who they signed. Very solid group of starters right there. And they get your special teams with Devin Duvernay. They could use some more competition in there as that fourth, fifth guy. Maybe a speedster. Take the top off defenses. That would be my only thing here on day three. Tight end looking good. You got Trey McBride. You got Tip Raymond. You got Elijah Higgins. Even Tegan Quentin Tarantino is there. So they're in a pretty good spot. They don't need to do a whole ton, especially when you have the best tight end in the NFL. Oh, I said that. On to the offensive line. You got yourself a good on from center, left guard, left tackle, looking good. But the right side could have some competition for sure. And draft need wise, right guard, maybe that's something you can add, or plus center, somebody that can be a center slash guard in competition, because Yelta Froholt is going to a contract year. Right tackle Elijah Wilkinson played solid for the Falcons. He could start early on. That's why this is not a must have to select somebody at 3 overall. You go best player available. It is still an earlier need though. Even Oli Udoh can play some swing ability there for them. However, yes, I want to go ahead and try to address that a little bit. Defensively wise, edge is a sneaky but not sneaky need. They need help here. They are going to possibly trade Josh Sweat. If that happens, maybe on draft night, that could be a possible move for this football team. Maybe the Bears say, you know what? You want that 25th overall pick? Throw in Josh Sweat for us and you can come up and get your quarterback. You never know. That could be something to keep an eye out on in the draft. You got Roy Loeb. Going back to the edge position here. You got yourself Zaven Collins under contract. Baron Browner going to a contract year. So you got a couple of guys too in a contract years. And that would make things very, very interesting to draft a edge rusher early in this draft, especially where they're picking at number 3 overall. Interior defensive line. They could use a little bit more depth, mainly because Walter Nolan has some injuries, and Andrew Billings has had injury history too lately. I do love the combination of Nolan and Lopez. That's going to be fun when they're out there in tandem. You got some good situational players like Mustafa, Collier, and Stills out there, Carter, etc. It's not a huge need. It could be a late round pick, something like that, but that is really about it. Linebacker, inside linebacker, should I say. You got Mac Attack Wilson, Cody Simon, and you got Jack Gibbons, who they recently brought in on a couple-year contract. They're in a pretty good spot here. I don't see them needing to do a whole ton, especially in Nick Rollins' scheme. Doesn't seem like that big of a need for me. And then we go on to the cornerback position. Will Johnson, Denzel Burke on the outside with Starling Thomas, Max Melton, and even Sean Murphy button his back. Elijah Jones, who played good down the stretch there. As long as he's healthy, he's another guy in the mold. And you got some dudes that can move around as well in the slot if Garrett Williams gets injured. They're in a pretty dang good spot here. You could draft and develop a nickel corner. That would be my only recommendation here, because Garrett Williams has been injury prone and is also going into a contract year. Safety, looking okay right now. This is an area that I do think they need to draft, and somebody that wouldn't be shocked me if they draft a little bit earlier, especially in Rollins' scheme of using 3 safeties quite a bit. And Budda Baker going into a contract kind of year for him. Not really. He's still under contract till 28, but the contract gets expensive. Could they move on and save a lot of chump change in a possible rebuild? Could they trade him? Those are all questions. I could see them drafting a safety a little bit earlier than expected. Andrew Wingard comes over from the Jags to help them out there. And then you got Dadrian Taylor-Demison, who should be ready to step up into that starting role. I will be looking at safety, though. Special teams, pretty decent. You're going to have good kicker competition, at least between Ryland and Cardi. So maybe made the best man win. You got Gilskin as the kicker. Blake is a great kicker. Blake the great kicker. You got Duvernay in special teams. They're pretty good. And Crater as your long snapper. Smoothing in now to the mock draft. And we got the Cardinals, who I'm taking Ruben Bain Jr., edge rusher from Miami, the Hurricane. He is just, in my opinion, one of the best players in the draft. And when you're picking this high up, you want a stud. I'm actually, wouldn't mind the Jets taking him as a Jets fan. But Cardinals, if you can get Ruben Bain here at number 3, oh, that's an easy one in my opinion. You've been looking for that supercharged villain off the edge, right? You talk about Batman, where's Rachel? Where's Bane? Dude, that's what you need right now. And I'm sorry, I'm yelling in the mic, calm down. But Ruben Bain would actually be the guy that they could really prioritize to go into that edge room and you feel great about for the long haul. That can be a really good football player. And the fact of the matter is, yes, they might be a 3-4, this and that. At the end of the day, go take good football players. Bain can play 3-4, 4-3. It don't matter. The guy is a stud. And you can move him across the defensive line. He's got the strength profile to play anywhere. Then you got Blake Miller from Clemson, the tackle, right tackle there. He could start right away, in my opinion. But if he doesn't, then you got Elijah Wilkerson right there who can start. No worries about it. Long-term, Blake Miller can be your long-term right tackle. He's an Iron Man too, right? We got Bane as your villain. Now you get yourself that superhero in the Iron Man, Blake Miller, who only missed like 1 game in his freshman season. But besides that, he is the most tried, true, tested right or tackle in this draft. Maybe the most tried, true offensive lineman in this draft. Garrett Nussmeier, LSU quarterback, going to be taken here for us in the 3rd. Let's take a chance here on Garrett Nussmeier. Maybe we can find a Kirk Cousins-esque type quarterback, and it doesn't take you out of that sweepstakes in next year's draft class as you rebuild, get off Kyler Murray's contract and all those things. But you never know. Maybe Nussmeier works out. Something to keep an eye out on. Matt Govin from Michigan State, the Spartan, is going to come in here. He has, he played every position in college, but he's going to move inside at the next level. I think he'll be a great center for this football team in the long haul, and he can compete at that guard position too with Isaiah Adams. My view on it, though, is he could be that long-term Yota Froholt replacement if he is not able to be retained because he's going to get paid nicely. Then you have the money to do it, but hey, something to consider. Have some depth on the offensive line and competition never hurts. Then you got Jacoby Thomas back to the Hurricane here, and I'm going to take him because I think they could use another safety in there, and I think Thomas fits the bill. He can play down in the box. He can play a little in the slot. He can cover guys. He's a really good blitzer, too, down in the box. I mean, he's not your overhang free safety, but I think Dadrian Taylor-Demerson has a little more range to do something like that, and that's totally fine. But Thomas gives you some nice strong side ability over there. Eric Rivers, Georgia Tech wide receiver, who is going to come in and give them some more speed. Could be their long-term Duvernay replacement maybe. But anyway, Eric Rivers certainly adds some more speed in the room that can be a hybrid Z-slot player. And then finally, Aaron Graves from Iowa, who gets them some more interior rotational player pass rush up in there. Good solid size to be able to play from anywhere from like a 2-eye or 2 to 5 position sort of thing, 4-eye. I especially could see him as like a 4-eye rotational type of player for them as a pass rusher. And they got like Collier and all those guys are all under contract for only 1 season. So maybe you get a little bit of depth for the long haul on a cheap contract. That's it for the Arizona Cardinals. Let me know what you think, agree or disagree on this mock draft. And also, if you got a mock draft, throw it out there. I want to take a look, man. I want to do a little copy and paste action. I want to see what you got, and we can jot some notes down and talk some football. But I hope you guys have a really good day, and let's go.